Instructor Presentation for the Assure copyright lesson based off of the Instructional Technology and Media for Learning by Smidlow, Lothar, and Mims. A is for analyzing the learners. Miss Stewart's 7th grade class is comprised of 8 girls and 9 boys, whose ages range from 11 to 13-year-olds. Miss Stewart's class has very little knowledge about copyright laws. However, they frequently use the internet and are comfortable using technology. Miss Stewart's students have various learning needs that include verbal and visual supports. The standards. Learners will identify possible sources of information, and learners will make critical choices about information sources to use. And that is from the American Library Association Student Standards. Their objectives. Miss Stewart's 7th grade class will identify and demonstrate knowledge of copyright laws by receiving an overall rating of proficient on 2 out of 3 categories corresponding to the following categories. Students will define copyright vocabulary in their own words. Students successfully applies copyright laws when researching, and students participate fully in class activities. Selecting strategies and resources. The chosen learning strategy was a copyright presentation that provided a mix of basic and detailed information. The presentation included audio and visuals to help students develop an understanding for copyright laws. A strategy that I would implement when doing this in the classroom is to provide a handout for students to take notes on. Each handout would appear to be the same at a glance, but the handouts would provide additional supports for students who struggle academically. The resources used were from the Instructional Technology and Media Learning books, Smidlow, Lothar, and Mims. Utilize resources. I previewed the copyright laws from the book Instructional Technology and Media Learning by Smidlow, Lothar, and Mims. I prepared the copyright presentation based from the information I had learned from the book about copyright laws and previous knowledge I had about Creative Commons and the public domain. I prepared the environment by making sure that students had adequate space to sit at tables and to make sure that everyone could see the presentation. I also made sure that the audio was loud enough to be heard by students even if they were far away from the computer. I prepared the students by providing a reason as to why the copyright laws are important to them. Finally, the learning experience will be provided by presenting the copyright presentation to students. Required learner participation. Students would need to participate in the student presentation. Students would be the ones answering the questions in the review portion of the presentation. Students will also be required to do research with their teacher, and students will be evaluated using a rubric. Evaluate and revise. Students will be evaluated on 3 different categories: defining copyright vocabulary, students successfully applies copyright laws when researching, and participation. Students will be evaluated between a range of expert and beginner based on how their performance are in the 3 different categories. My reference, Smidlow, Lothar, and Mims, Instructional Technology and Media for Learners.